guys, this is your boy Jeameave back in with Views from the Heart, and today we got a 2011 5th generation F01 chassis BMW 740i. The 740i is actually, the 7 Series in general is the Mac Daddy of BMW. It's, it's the competitor to the Mercedes S-Class and the Audi A8. And as most people know, Mercedes S-Class is pretty much synonymous with world-class luxury. Sans, Rolls-Royce, Maybach, and Bentley. Those are really the only three. It's kind of funny because now that I mentioned Maybach, Maybach is now owned by Mercedes. It's a subsidiary just like AMG. So in my opinion, I think Maybach is useless. I think that you're paying extremely overpriced when you're getting a Maybach compared to a Mercedes S-Class, but going off the tangent here, we talk about the 7 Series. But anyway, I think the one thing that set the 7 Series apart for the most part from its contemporaries is the fact that BMW really implements a lot of newer technology within the 7 Series. I feel like the 7 Series is BMW's platform to implement a lot of their frontier technology, and slowly but surely as the generation progresses along in years, that technology tends to an extent anyway, trickle down in the lower models like the 5 Series, the 3 Series, so on and so forth. Mercedes kind of does that too, but Mercedes plays more conservative and keeps it just, luxury. BMW tries to implement, it tries to be an all-arounder, it tries to be a Swiss Army knife, a jack of all trades, if you will. And personally, I feel that it doesn't really excel in any one thing. It's good at almost everything, but it's not the best in any one thing. Like, I think it can be argued that Mercedes, at least in the S-Class anyway, is clear-cut and above the most luxurious option in this segment. Some people have different tastes, and some people think that the S-Class is more antiquated and a little bit more old-fashioned, while the 7 Series tends to be more progressive. And the A8, honestly, you don't really see the A8 that much. But anyway, let me introduce you to the engine and tell you a little bit about why I think the 740i is the best option when you're looking for even a new 7 Series or a used one on the used car market, like here at Carlux. Thank you again to Carlux, shout out to Carlux. But with that being said, the 740i, at least the 2011 model, came with the N54 engine. It's packing 315 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. And the reason why I say the N54 or the 740i is the best option is because it's BMW's bread and butter. So twin turbo inline 6, and it is a very reliable and very solid engine especially compared to the twin turbo V8 charged option or like the N63. If you're looking for a 7 Series, do not get the 750i, and you probably most likely want to avoid the 760i or the M760Li and the newer ones, unless you're leasing or anything like that. The most reliable, solid option, the one that would give you the least amount of problems comparatively, will be the inline 6, straight 6 twin turbo option, and the 2012 post 2012 ones came with the N55 engine. The 2008 to 2011s comes with the N54, and like I said, this is a 2011. So this vehicle gets a MPG of 17 city and 28, 25 highway, 26 highway, and a curb weight of 4,344 pounds. So with all that said, let me go ahead and take you on the inside and show what this bad boy is all about, because like I said, this is the Mac Daddy of BMW. This is quintessential BMW, what it tends to offer in terms of its opulence and luxury. So let me go ahead and show you on the inside and show you what it's all about. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Let's go ahead and jump on in and see what this bad boy is all about. Woo! Turn this AC down a little bit, make it a little bit more bearable so you guys can hear me up in here. Alrighty, so again, 2011 BMW 740i 7 Series. Obviously I'm sitting in pure luxury, pure opulence, pure comfortability. I'm extremely comfortable in here. There's no question, ifs, ands, or buts about that. The seats are extremely comfortable, and overall the interior looks of quality. Now, starting price brand new back in 2011, this vehicle base price was $70,000. With options, you quickly see yourself in the $80,000 to $85,000 range with the 740i trim. Obviously, the 750i and the 760Li, or like I said, the 760Li would have been the twin turbo V12 option, would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of brand new, probably $140,000 if I remember off the top of my head. And like I said, these are varying trim levels, but at the same time, you know, BMW tried to make this vehicle more ubiquitous by offering a lower trim engine, or in terms of horsepower, in this vehicle. And it actually ended up offering the most reliable and the best one as far as, you know, reliability goes for BMW. This N54 is the same engine that's found in the 2007 to 2010 BMW 335i. It is obviously a little bit tuned a little bit more from factory to be 315 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, whereas allegedly anyway, the 3 Series came with 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Realistically speaking, it was more about 330 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. And the N54 was heavily underrated for the most part. Most people believe that stock-wise it came with, you know, about 300 wheel horsepower, 280 to 300 wheel horsepower. So realistically speaking, that's anywhere between the range of 330 to 360 horsepower, depending on, you know, different options and the dyno you're reading on and things of that nature. So overall, you know, I don't think there should be too much of an issue when it comes to this vehicle's ability to haul this massive vehicle. Although it doesn't even weigh that much, it has a curb weight of 4,344 pounds. So its footprint, however, though, is pretty large. But, you know, with such a large vehicle comes incredible amounts of space. Like, I don't think that there is any possibility of any body type having any sort of issue in here, except maybe the front. You know, the front is probably more so for a person of a slimmer character, a slimmer footprint. But overall, you know, the legroom in here, NBA star or whatever, even if you're Shaq, you should not have any issue sitting in here in comfortableness. The only spot that I think you'd have some issue is if you were to, you know, place a tall individual in the middle seat. The semi-sloping roofline, as you can see, it's kind of have like an indentation in the back right there. So the roofline itself tends to come down a little bit, and obviously at the middle seats you're a little bit higher seating position wise compared to your left and right occupants. So anybody sitting tall sitting in the middle, don't play yourself, sit in the left or right. But other than that, when you sit back and, you know, sprawl out, like I said, unless you have some sort of pituitary disorder where you're 8 feet or something like that, you're not gonna have an issue sitting in here. And like I said, I'm completely comfortable. I'm with the seats all the way back, and you know, there is ample amounts of space for, like I said, as I aforementioned, any body type. And overall, it's a very lovely place to be in. You know, like I said, you got the double stitch leather on it. That's what you should, because, you know, this is basically a $90,000 vehicle, $100,000 vehicle here if you want to classify it. And overall, like I said, it speaks quality, it speaks opulence, it speaks genuine materials that you'd want to see in a vehicle that is very, very expensive, at least brand new anyway. But here at Car Collection, I believe this vehicle is going for around, you know, $16,000-$17,000 if I remember off the top of my head. But either way, you know, here at Car Collection you find lovely vehicles, lovely options, and like I said, look at this vehicle. It only has 62,000 miles. It's a 2011, so it hasn't really been driven that much. You know, realistically speaking, only about 10,000 miles a year. So you know, this vehicle is very well taken care of, especially with this mocha type interior. And I know these sort of interior colors tend to be a little bit hit or miss, or more of an acquired taste, but I like different. And this is a very nice, different interior, especially compared to black. And overall, it gives a nice, classy look, especially compared with the blue. Adds a nice contrast from the exterior. And overall, I love this interior, and this is something I would love to get for my mother or my father, my parents in general. You know, like, this is a very comfortable place to be in. The seats are very comfortable. You know, you got heated and cooled seats in here. You got everything you honestly need in here. There's only thing that's really missing is a panoramic roof, but I believe back at the time, 2011, panoramic was kind of a distant option at the time. I don't remember exactly. I don't even really remember if there's any much vehicles that came with a panoramic roof. And back in those days, you know, it kind of feels like 2011 was only a few years ago, but it's really well, it's 7 going on 8 years ago, and I was still in high school. Yeah, but anyway, moving along ahead, you know, like I said, overall the layout is clean. And like I said, BMW, what tries to separate itself from the S-Class is it tries to, you know, implement a lot of technology. And as far as the new 7 Series, and it tried to implement a lot of, you know, some people say gimmicky, but you know, a lot of touch, or how should I say, visually sensing cameras in here that can mimic touch sensitivity by just hand movements. So that's interesting, and I don't know how often someone would use it, but you know, I guess if it's a first time person being in here and you want to show off, it's nice. But overall, you know, I think what separates the 7 Series, or at least most BMWs in general, from its Mercedes counterparts is the way it drives and the way it handles. And from what I've seen, read, and heard, the 7 Series is actually quite a decent performer, especially considering how large of a footprint it is. So I'm pretty eager to find out exactly how well this actually performs and how comfortable it is, because again, I have driven an S-Class before and I love the S-Class, and it's definitely something that is a very good vehicle. The only thing that bothered me was the extremely vague steering wheel, at least on the 4MATIC CL550. The S-Class had a better steering, which was kind of ironic, but you know, the CL and the S550 for Mercedes back in those days, back in, you know, like I said, the early 2010s, they were a derivative of each other. The CL turned into the now S-Class coupe. Like I said, I'm talking about Mercedes and supposed to be the BMW review. But overall, like I said, you know, for BMW, this is the marquee. This is the top of the line model for the most part in terms of its luxury offerings. You know, you have the 7 Series, the 5 Series, the 3 Series, and then, you know, you have the 6 Series Grand Coupe, or the 6 Series. And, you know, those are your more kind of proprietary performance-oriented models in a sense. I believe Mercedes was the first one to come out with a crossover coupe, 4-door, you can call it a coupe, something like that, you know, with the CLS. Everyone tries to be different, and you know, I'm a fan of all of those hatchbacks, or not hatchbacks, but coupes, coupe sedans, grand coupes, whatever you want to call them. BMW calls them the grand coupes. It's kind of oxymoronic in and of itself, but you know, it offers a different design with 4 doors, and you know, people love practicalities these days, and that's why Ford is getting rid of pretty much every vehicle that is a car 2-door besides the Mustang, and switching over to crossovers and SUVs and all sorts of and everything's of that jazz. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, you know, people speak with the money, and if that's what people in America are buying these days, then well, you know, I guess there are also always alternatives, and Ford knows that they would commit brand suicide if they were to get rid of the Mustang, which they're not. So, but at the end of the day, are people really buying a Taurus? No. But like I said, you know, at the end of the day, I'm extremely excited to take this 7 Series out and see what it's all about. So let's go ahead and jump to the driving portion, because you know, I'm going off a little bit too of a tangent. But overall, as far as in here goes, I love the interior. I love the color combination with the blue and the mocha interior. There's a ridiculous space. The trunk space is ridiculous. It's probably one of the largest trunks I've ever seen. And overall, if you're looking for a family hauling vehicle, there are very few options better than this, to be honest. Other than the fact that, like I said, this is a large vehicle, so if you cannot drive and you cannot park, you probably don't want to get this vevehicle. But let's go ahead and jump into the driving portion and see what it's all about. So let's go ahead and let's go. So what's this like driving a 2011 BMW 740i? Well, you know, it does have that N55 engine, so let's see what this bad boy is. You know, for a big vehicle like this is actually pretty fast. Wow, that's actually impressive. And the fuel reserve.
Bro, you had on the entire time, man.
No, I didn't have it on the entire time.
I'm gonna lie.
That's pretty startling. Bro, you see how big this vehicle is? 4,344 pounds, and it's moving like this. Man, you don't really need much more power than this. You know, this same engine, the N54, right?
Yeah.
It's the same engine in the 3 Series, the one that I told you. It's the previous engine to my engine, that's the N55.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's actually a lot of tuning capabilities with this engine. This could be a really fast car.
They actually made one.
This twin turbo, yeah, you know, they gave the twin turbo V12, but this can be just as equally as fast, if not faster. Like, a lot of people don't realize that this engine is, you know, some consider the German 2JZ. Might be a little bit too early to tell, but overall, because you know, I only say that because we haven't cracked the 1,000 horsepower yet. Sucks. But you know, we've been pushing upwards of 700 wheel horsepower on stock blocks, so not many other engines can do that. True. And there's a sweet spot where people have been doing daily daily, as a daily car. Anywhere between the range of 600 to 650 wheel horsepower. So when converted, especially if you're on a Mustang dyno, that's anywhere between the range of 700 to 750 horsepower. Stock block. Stock block. Obviously, it's not the stock turbo, but you know, it's upgraded single turbo, upgraded high pressure fuel pump, and not upgraded upgraded low pressure fuel pump with port injection. Usually meth or okay, there we go. Just looking around for the sirens, you feel me? Just another day of living in Inglewood, you know, hearing emergency vehicles minute after minute.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. But overall, this is real comfortable. Like I said, we were in either normal or comfort mode. But I'm gonna drive around a little bit in comfort and see how it feels, and change it into Sport Plus and see if it makes a difference. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna make too much of a difference. I mean, like I said, this is 4,344 pounds. But overall, you know what's the crazy to me?
What?
Is that, remember when we did the S-Class?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that had a naturally aspirated V8.
Yeah.
This feels just as fast. And that V8 was supposed to have 100 horsepower more than this. It is. Remember, that's like that was the mid-tier model. This is the base spec. This is the starting spec for the 7 Series. And I swear, I honestly feel like this car, granted it weighs about a good 200 pounds less,
yeah,
it feels just as peppy, just as, like, you feel there's not nice torque from this inline 6. Again, the M54 is a really good engine, and I feel like this is the 740, or for the 7 Series, the 740i is the best engine option. It's the most reliable compared to the, you know, other options. Obviously, it's relative, but you can't really go wrong with this engine, and at least the engine won't explode. You have a rod going through it, or you know, have some nice oil starvation. But other than that, BMW overall, especially by this time frame, pretty much nailed all of the negative discrepancies that happened with this entry to Orange Mod. This is mad comfortable. I'm always going like this when I'm driving now. Do this shit in my own car, but overall, you know, this is sleek. This is clean. I'm completely comfortable in here, and I'm having absolutely zero issue with the road, despite the fact that we're in Inglewood, and we're literally right next to the stadium. I don't know if you guys can tell, but we're right next to the stadium, you know, where the LA Rams and and LA Chargers, lol, are going to be playing. But these guys are obviously going to be able to tell. A lot of trucks, a lot of huge big rigs and stuff move up and down the street, so the street is awful. It's terrible. It's one of the worst.
They're gonna have to fix that.
Oh, by far, definitely. Because you know, with a lot of tourism that this is gonna inject into the economy down here in Inglewood, it's not gonna be a good look at this street. It's the same way when the stadium seems like I tell you that much.
Man, the hell is this? Hold on.
But overall, like I said, you know, this is I actually really like this. This is something I would love to get for my parents. You know, it's nice, spacious.
Okay.
It has a really
Which one though? Porsche? This one? You did say that about.
I did. I think I would did this for my dad and the Cayenne for my mom.
I mean, I think the best thing is if you were right in the back.
Oh yeah, by far. You know, there's ridiculous amounts of space back there. I mean, absolutely insane. Obviously, it's on the same level with the S-Class. You could sleep back there, sprawled out completely, not just like this. Like, you can literally, obviously the seat itself can't necessarily recline, but realistically speaking, no, even if you're shack, you should be able to completely sprawl out back there.
True.
Especially if they're sitting in the passenger side and there's no one in the passenger seat. Absolutely, there's insane amounts of space, and there should be absolutely no issue with that. Like, Jesus, people.
And if you run out of room in the trunk for groceries, you know where to put that out in the back.
Exactly, and I don't even think it's possible to run out of room with the size of this trunk. The trunk is absolutely insanely large in this vehicle. Yeah. There's so much space in this car. It's funny because footprint-wise, this is a large vehicle. Driving-wise, it doesn't really feel big. I'm actually very impressed with S-Class. I felt like it was a big vehicle, but I actually enjoyed driving S-Class as well, despite the fact that it had a very vague steering. This isn't 3 Series steering, obviously, either, but at the same time, I am in comfort. So I'm actually very eager to see and tell how exactly the steering will turn if I were to put it in Sport Plus mode. But overall, like I said, I am currently in comfort, and this is nice. I really like this. This is, people are always gonna be like, you know, you're the German car fanboy. Hey, I did a 2018 Mustang too, and I love that too. So, but overall, like I said, you know, there are very few vehicles that can compete with this and offer the same fun factor. The S-Class is the S-Class. You know, there are very few things that can usurp the S-Class in my opinion. Do I think this interior is on the same level of the S-Class? No. Is it comparable? Is it in the same realm? Is it in the same zip code? Absolutely. But, you know, like I said, to me, in my opinion, that is what Mercedes has the leg up on over BMW when it comes to the S-Class, is luxury. Luxury amenities and the way it makes you feel. And overall, this lacks a little bit in that regard. But I think it makes up for it in, like I said, this is the base trim model and it feels just as fast as the S550, which was a V8 and was supposed to have 400 plus horsepower.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not going to be as fast as the, when I did S-Class, that was like a 2008, 2009, 2010, around that range. So, you know, that was a naturally aspirated one, and obviously the S550 now comes with the twin turbo, or bi-turbo V8. So obviously that's pushing 450 plus horsepower. So yeah, obviously that's going to feel definitely faster than this. But like I said, what I love about BMWs in general, their cars tends to weigh a good 200 pounds less than their Mercedes equivalent. And I think I can definitely feel it in this car. It definitely feels lighter, it feels more nimble. And it's weird to say that considering the fact that this is such a large vehicle. And I'm riding in such comfort. Like, this is a really nice, comfortable vehicle. And it's hard to just convey the fact that you don't expect something so large to drive the way that it does and still offer comfortability. So like I said, I'm gonna put it in Sport Plus now and see how the steering changes. And okay, well, the throttle response, okay, calm down, girl, calm down. Calm down. Obviously, to put it in a Sport Plus mode, even on little throttle implementations, the gear changes hang. The transmission holds onto the gear longer. So that's, you know, it comes with the territory, but overall it kind of caught me off a little bit off guard. You know, made the throttle a little bit more responsive. But overall, let me see, give a little. That's really not bad for something so large. And obviously I was in the wrong gear because I left it in automatic. So, but overall, you know, like there's some body sway. But overall, the feedback I'm getting in the steering wheel is better than the S-Class, and it's not that bad. It's honestly, if I were, you know, to be like in my mid-30s, something like that, and I just wanted something comfortable with something a little bit fun, but still S-Class-ish, this is a good alternative. Yeah. This is a really good alternative because, you know, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fast, especially relatively speaking when you're considering what it is. Like, this is a large vehicle. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But it doesn't feel large and it doesn't feel big. And I think that's something very hard to convey and master. And like again, the S-Class didn't feel really huge to me either because it had the power to back it up, but at the same time it still felt like a luxury barge. You know, it felt composed, it felt comfortable, but obviously it wasn't sporty at all. And wow, okay, but people do the dumbest things on the roads here, everywhere, and not just in LA. Don't get it twisted. I've driven in other states as well, or at least have been driven in other states. But overall, you know, like I said, what are you thinking, Robert? It's shocking. Like, what are you thinking right now? How are you feeling? What is going on here?
Whoa! You gotta be kidding! Whoa, hold up!
Oh, what?
Bro. Man, that's what happens when you try to like drift, bro.
Bro, you better tell your brothers to be chilling in the G37s.
Damn, bro. What?
I ain't ever seen something like this in a what?
Dude.
I hope the GoPros.
Yo, I have a G37, but damn, bro.
Man, boys be wilding out here, fam. Right here in Inglewood. Boy, hit up. Fire hydrant, man. How do you do something like this?
For real. Damn, we're over here taking stories, bro. Yo, I'm gonna ask him, does he need any of those rims, you know? carbon fiber. No, I'm just
I'm trying to understand, like, how, look at, this is so stupid. And it, like, obviously these two cars collided, but
yeah.
Can you please move,
he got hit, bro.
This be pulled out while he was driving too fast.
Dang, that is.
I did not expect to see that at all. I was over here paying attention to what I'm doing. And you know, I hope these cameras better have caught something. This GoPro better have caught that because.
Oh yeah, so that way entertainment for right now.
Let me just make sure that was recording. Yeah, that was definitely recording because yeah, that definitely. Ooh man. Oh, I hope both parties involved are safe and okay. You know, that was a pretty bad accident. I assume that one of the cars is making a right while obviously one of the cars is traveling the same direction that I am right now. So someone was making that to someone was going a little too fast. And obviously in indifference and obliviousness to what you're doing causes people to get hurt. And both of those vehicles are completely totaled. And that had to have just happened within the last 10 minutes. That derailed the whole.
For real, man.
I ain't never seen something like that before.
Like, I'm sorry, I've been kind of like spaced out throughout the whole video.
Really? Really? No, I'm just playing. Yeah.
Well, you know.
I know, but you know, that was well, at least we can talk about the sound of it because I didn't hear jack squat about what was going on there. I was not conscious at all what was going on until I saw it with my own eyes. Even though you can see there was a huge, you know, Niagara Falls water fountain going on over there, and we didn't hear anything with the windows up.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything. Like you're completely secluded to the outside in this car.
True that.
And you know, I think that's both a positive and a negative because if you can't hear things, then it's kind of dangerous too.
True.
But you know, that could just be a combination of the AC. But usually, if you have the windows pushed in the summer, you can have the AC on anyway. But overall, you know, like I said, that was this is real life, people. Things happen. People get hurt. And you know, unfortunately, well, I'm not gonna say that, but you know, watch what you're doing, drive carefully, and pay attention. That's all you need to do is pay attention. If you see someone driving too fast, that doesn't mean you're Superman and trying to come out. Take your time, make them go fast, make someone do whatever they want to do and deal with the consequences on their own. Don't try and you know, stop someone from doing what they're doing. Mind your own business. Mind your own business. You know what black people love to do? Mind your own business.
True.
Don't be poolside patio, or sidewalk patio, whatever you want to call it. Don't meme yourself. Mind your own business. If someone wants to drive 100 miles an hour down the street, let them. Are you the police? No. So just stay out the way, and you'll be safe. And deal with it accordingly. Please go up. Like I see you have space. Jesus.
I was gonna say something, but
like I clearly see you have space and you want to blocking and I have my signal on. But you know, overall, like I said, this was a lovely experience, despite the fact that it got completely derailed there in the middle part to near end. But shout out to Carlux, my guy Superman Robson doing me shotgun. You know, probably it's been a while since you guys seen me post up the video with them. But like I said before, when I did my 2018 Mustang, I'm not done with Carlux, people.
nah.
Just because I'm moving up, you know.
You forgot.
Robert got too much love for me. Don't be leaving me hanging. You left me.
No, I oh my god. Oh. You see that? Bro, man, you just freaking hit me, man.
But I barely touched you.
Domestic.
I barely. But overall, like I said, shout out to Carlux. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity, despite the fact, you know, your boy's kind of moving out the nest, spreading my wings a little bit, you know. But the bigger I get, the better it is for everyone.
Yeah, maybe the next one I won't be so unfocused, so you know.
But my boy's going through some trying times, but you know, I'm here for him. We're all here for him as a community. All 100 of us. 100. But overall, I guess I thank you so much for Carlux, Sonny, Robert, the whole squad. If you want this vehicle, which I give 2 thumbs up, I really loved it. It's available right here at Carlux. Come on by in Inglewood, California. You're gonna have to move, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But overall, this video is coming to a close. Thank you so much for watching. It actually came out a little bit shorter than I expected, but overall, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a blessed day, and I hope you guys stick around for the next video. I'm out. Peace.